Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Hope your day and your week have been going very well so far. Got a new day, which of course means a new MLB Player Prop video to share with you guys. But first, as always, people, please make sure to go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, and drop a comment down below. It helps the channel grow, and it really does mean a ton to us. With a new day comes some new opportunities to go ahead and make some money. I have 4 MLB Player Props to go ahead and share with you guys in today's MLB slate. But first, guys, before we dive into today's picks, a quick little recap of how we did last night. And spoiler alert, you're going to be impressed. Jumping on over to GuyBostonSports.com. That's right, guys. A 4-0 sweep last night. Phenomenal start to the week. We are now dating back to last Monday through this Monday. Or now it's Tuesday, I guess. But up till today, we are on, including parlays, an 18-4 run this past 7 or 8 days. We are right now 18-3 in our single bet category, 0-1 in the parlay. That was our Saturday parlay, did not hit. But when you put it all together, we're on an 18-4 run since last Monday. Like the thumbnail says, we are red hot, and it continued last night. 4-0 performance last night, and we've got some really solid news. We are now officially broken even in the single bet category and officially profitable on the year, which I know to some people may not sound that impressive, but considering how bad we were 12-25 to start the year. We were down like 13 units in the negative. The fact that we battled back in just a couple of weeks, battled all the way back, broke even, and we are officially profitable, 53-43 on the season. And if you really want to get technical, we started 12-25. We are now 41-18 since then. We have been dialed in, red hot in our single bet category, guys. And you know what? I think it's finally time we say hello to my little friend. That's right. I told you guys we weren't breaking out the money gun until we finally broke even. Well, that happened last night, so welcome back. Say hello to my little friend. Let's go. Performance issues are common in money guns over the age of 1 year old. Here we go. Let's try that again. Say hello to my little friend. Let's. Oh. I don't know. This is bad for vibes. Come on, money gun. Oh. Well, that's unfortunate. Money gun might need some fine tuning. In the meantime, let's go, baby. Let's go. Money. Let's go, baby. That's what we've been winning the last couple of weeks. 18-4 run coming in today's video. 4 player props coming your way right now. Let's go ahead and make some more money. Let's go. Jumping right into the outlier screen. That was very anticlimactic, I feel like. First player prop in today's slate. We're looking at the Twins-Orioles game. 6:35 p.m. first pitch. We're going Carlos Correa of the Minnesota Twins over 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs, -125 is what we're getting it for over on BetMGM. Now, the data on this player prop is not fantastic. I'll be honest. Just 4 of his last 10 games, he's cashed the over, averaging 1.8 HRRs per game over his last 10. Go ahead and search the data out to the entire season view. Still not all that impressive. 42% hit rate, 16 out of 38 games. He's cashed the over, averaging 1.55 HRRs per game overall this season. So the data is not very strong here. Even in the head-to-head category, just one of his last 4 matchups with Baltimore. One of these 3 games thus far in the series, he's cashed the over, or this season, I should say. But data's not that good. He did cash it at a 62% hit rate last year, but so far this year, a disappointing start in terms of this line for Carlos Correa. Now, all that being said, the reason why I like this player prop, although the data is not great, is the matchup down below here versus Cade Povich of the Baltimore Orioles. Now, a little on the smaller side in terms of sample size, 6 plate appearances in 2018 versus Cade Povich. 333 batting average. He has a home run off of him, a couple of hits. Small sample size, but he has had some success in that limited sample size. But looking down below at the splits, it's the matchup that you would die for. You love to see things like this. Look at Carlos Correa this year. He's batting .231 with a 69. Pause for applause. WRC plus. Now, versus left-handed pitchers, much smaller sample, right? Just 23 plate appearances this year versus left-handed pitchers. But in those 23 plate appearances, he is significantly better and been more successful than he has been versus right-handed pitchers. Again, take that with a grain of salt because he hasn't faced a ton. But 364 batting average, 215.8 WRC plus when facing off with left-handed pitchers this year. 8 hits and 23 plate appearances. Pretty solid performance there for Carlos Correa. Again, not a lot there in terms of sample size, but when he's faced off left-handed pitchers, he's been very successful this year. Parlay that with the fact that Cade Povich, who's not having a great year to begin with, versus right-handed batters, all of his numbers increase pretty significantly. ERA jumps from 5.55 to 6.59. Batting average allowed goes to 3.22. home runs per 9, 2.3, and WOBA 400. Those are all steady, significant increases from already bad numbers to even worse numbers. So I think, yeah, the data for Correa is not great, but I think the matchup is too sweet to go ahead and ignore. If he continues this kind of a hot start to the year against left-handed pitchers, he could have a really solid performance. And he's already hit a home run off of Cade Povich once since 2018, and you see the home runs per 9 versus right-handed batters is 2.3. We could even see a home run for Carlos Correa. Couldn't be a decent prop to look at in this game, but for minus 125, yeah, I like the data to be better across the board, but the matchup is too sweet to go ahead and ignore. By the way, guys, if you are watching today's video, please comment unstoppable down below in the comment section, because that's what we are right now. We are absolutely unstoppable right now with our MLB player props. Again, 18-4 run. If you guys missed that, 18-4 run, 41-18 run since our 12-25 start. So the last, month basically, we've gone 41-18. Red hot right now, guys. Make sure to go ahead and comment unstoppable down below and keep going with us, guys. Keep watching, keep supporting. We appreciate you guys. I know we had a really rough start. Those who stuck around, I appreciate you guys, because I told you we were going to get out of that abyss. Took a while, but we did finally go ahead and get out and break even. Our second player prop in today's slate, we're moving on to the White Sox-Reds game, 6:40 p.m. first pitch. We're going Andrew Abbott of the Cincinnati Reds under 2.5 earned runs. This is a little higher in the odds standpoint, minus 145 over on DraftKings, what we're getting it for. Despite that, I still think it's pretty solid value overall. Now, so far this year in 2025 for Andrew Abbott, an 80% hit rate on this under. He's had 5 starts this year. He's cashed the under of 2.5 earned runs in 4 out of 5 games. The only game where he cashed the over was versus Colorado on April 25th. He gave up 4 runs in that game. But overall, he's been really, really solid this year on cashing this line. He's got a pretty good matchup here with Chicago. Also, from the head-to-head category, he did face off with the White Sox once last year, back on April 12th of last season. He only gave up 1 earned run in what was an 11-1 win for the Reds. So really good numbers across the board here for Andrew Abbott. And looking down below, the insight provided by Outlier, Andrew Abbott has failed to exceed 2.5 earned runs in 4 of his last 5 games at home, averaging just 1.6 earned runs per game over the last 5 home games in Cincinnati. So really good numbers there. And look at the White Sox batting versus left-handed pitchers. They are this year 23rd in Major League Baseball with a 217 batting average. However, you narrow it down a little bit further to the last 30 games, 25th with a 211 batting average. All the numbers are in the green. All of them in either the bottom 10 or bottom 5 rankings in the league. The moral of the story from this image is that the fact the White Sox really struggle. They struggle hitting in general, but versus left-handed pitchers, they especially struggle in a lot of these key categories. So it's a really good matchup for Andrew Abbott. Again, he can give up 2 runs and he still cashes the under. We just can't have him give up more than 2. And honestly, with this White Sox offense, I don't really envision that happening. He's having a great year, so I don't really envision this happening. So love the under here for Andrew Abbott. I don't think Chicago's offense is going to be able to have a field day off of him. That's our second player prop in today's slate. All right, guys, our third player prop in today's slate. We're moving on to the Cardinals-Phillies game, 6:45 p.m. first pitch. We're going Max Kepler of the Philadelphia Phillies under 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs, minus 140. Over on BetMGM is what we're grabbing it for. Data is very solid across the board here, guys. 7 of his last 10 games, he's cashed the under, averaging just 1.6 HRRs per game over his last 10 games. And if you narrow it down a little bit closer, he's only cashed the over in 1 of his last 8. So 7 of his last 8 games, he's cashed this under. So far this year on the entire season view, a 61% hit rate on this under for Max Kepler. 23 out of 38 games, he's cashed the under, averaging 1.66 hits, runs, RBIs per game this season. So like I said, really good numbers across the board here for Max Kepler. Even in the head-to-head category, each of his last 5 matchups with the St. Louis Cardinals, he's cashed the under. It's obviously a 100% hit rate over his last 5 games, averaging just 0.4 HRRs per game against St. Louis. They played 3 times so far this season. He's cashed the under in all 3 games, April 11th, April 12th, and then just yesterday on May 12th. And all of them, 0 hits, 0 runs, 0 RBIs in all 3 matchups against St. Louis so far this season. So really phenomenal data across the board here on this Max Kepler under. Again, the insight provided by Outlier. I kind of spoiled it already. He's failed to exceed 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs in 7 of his last 8 games. Again, averaging just 0.9 hits, runs, RBIs per game over his last 8. And looking down below, if all that data did convince you guys, the matchup stats down below are also phenomenal. Look at the Max Kepler versus Sonny Gray stats here. 11 plate appearances since 2018. Just 2 hits off of Sonny Gray in 11 plate appearances, 200 batting average, 273 OBP with a 27.3% strikeout rate. So pretty good head-to-head data there. Now, Kepler's numbers versus right-handed pitchers, they don't fluctuate too much from his overall numbers. 229 batting average is exactly the same as his overall numbers. His WRC plus does increase slightly versus right-handed pitchers, but the moral of the story being that he's pretty consistent whether you're facing off with right-handed pitchers or left-handed pitchers. He's pretty consistent against both. And by consistent, I mean consistently underperforming. 229 batting average, not exactly great. But looking at Sonny Gray, who's having a solid year overall versus left-handed batters, he's even better. 169. We'll pause for the applause there, even though there was a 1 in front of it. 169 ERA, 213 batting average allowed, 0.8 home runs per 9, and 274 WOBA. All 4 of those numbers are decreases from his overall numbers, which, by the way, the overall numbers are solid to begin with. At the decreased line, they're even better. It's a pretty decent sample size, too, with 85 batters faced. So across the board, phenomenal data, phenomenal matchup for -140. You really can't beat this as the 3rd player prop in today's slate. And last but not least, guys, our 4th player prop in today's slate. We're moving on to the Yankees-Mariners game, 9:40 p.m. first pitch. We're going Ben Williamson of the Seattle Mariners over half a strikeout, -145 over on DraftKings is what we're grabbing this for. And the data is fantastic across the board here. 7 of his last 10 games, he's cashed his over, averaging 1.1 strikeouts per game over his last 10 games. So far this year, a 65% hit rate on this over. 15 out of 23 games this season, he's cashed the over, averaging 0.96 strikeouts per game this year. And you do see, obviously, when looking at the data, a lot of multi-strikeout games for Ben Williamson this year. And the head-to-head category, not a lot to go off of, but they did play yesterday. He had 1 strikeout in that 11-5 loss for Seattle last night. So he did cash the over yesterday, which obviously is a good sign. Now, from a matchup stat perspective, it's not fantastic, but, you know, look at the batting average for Ben Williamson, 244 on the year. He actually is hitting a lot better versus left-handed pitchers. However, his strikeout percentage is also pretty high. It is decreased from his overall number. So the overall number is 24.7%, which is obviously very good for us. Versus left-handed pitchers, you do see that decrease down to 20.8. However, 20.8 is still fairly high enough that I'm confident to go ahead and take this. Obviously, he performs much better versus left-handed pitchers than he does right-handed pitchers. But there's also Max Fried, who we're talking about here, who has been one of the best pitchers in the American League so far this year. He has a 22.6% strikeout rate on the season versus right-handed batters. It decreases slightly to 21.2, but again, you have a strikeout percentage from the pitcher's side of 21.2 and a strikeout percentage from the batter's side of 20.8. When you usually get both of those in 20% or higher, you've got a pretty good matchup there. And again, we only need him to go ahead and get 1 strikeout to go ahead and cash the over. And one more thing to convince you guys, Max Fried heavily relies on the fastball and his pitch arsenal. 40% of his pitches are fastballs. Ben Williamson, look at the numbers, 24.7% strikeout rate overall versus the fastball, 40.9%. So Max Fried heavily relies on the fastball. Ben Williamson's strikeout rate very high against the fastball. He also relies on the sinker quite a bit, which Ben Williamson actually very solid against the sinker. But versus the curveball, small sample size, only 2 plate appearances, 19 pitch count, but 100% strikeout rate. So 2 of his 3 pitches Ben Williamson does struggle against in terms of strikeouts. So I think it's a pretty good matchup across the board here as our 4th and final player prop in today's video. So guys, that is it for me today. Thank you very much, as always, for watching. One more time, please make sure to go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, and drop a comment down below. We'll be back tomorrow with another MLB Player Prop video. But until then, guys, I hope you're all winners. Enjoy your Tuesday. Let's keep the good times rolling. Let's keep making a ton of money. And yeah, let's go ahead and make a ton of money. Let's go, baby.